Hi, my name is Miranda. I graduated with a BA in Sociology and a minor in Film Studies. I am currently an arts organizer at a literary charity called Singlit Station. Singlit Station is a charity that focuses on growing our literary community in Singapore. That means it helps writers develop their craft, introduce readers to the kind of vibrant culture that we have, and we try to build inclusive and diverse communities within that space. And the work that we do is basically to create a more robust and diverse literary community, and I find that really meaningful work. In particular, a project that I'm really excited about is an upcoming showcase of artwork by both migrant workers and local residents. It puts together work from all different kinds of walks of life in Singapore, and it uplifts voices that aren't often heard. So the project that I'm working on now, it is called Here and Elsewhere. It is an exhibition of work by migrant workers and local residents. There's embroidery and watercolor and collage and poetry and prose, and it is the culmination of a year-long series of creative writing workshops and arts and crafts workshops. And it sort of collects all of these experiences from all of these participants about the lives that they built here in Singapore and the memories that people carry with them from elsewhere. And so I would say that it is a showcase of Singaporean stories, despite the fact that many of these artists are not technically Singaporean, because it's about how their life here in Singapore shapes them. One story that I can think of that sort of encapsulates this juxtaposition between the personal and the structural is a piece that a migrant worker wrote about missing her father and not being able to be there for his last days because he was ill. From that micro perspective, it's just a very touching and sad story about a daughter who couldn't be there for her father. But she talked a little bit about why she couldn't go home and the circumstances of her working life. She didn't have enough days off that she could take. She didn't have the money to go back home during that time. When you sort of zoom out, it's not just about, but it tells you a little bit about people's working conditions, the kind of pressure that they're under in society. I was asked to come up with a story idea that would tie together the themes of SG60. So the story that I ended up settling on is about a Filipino PR who has lived in Singapore basically her whole life. She married a Singaporean man, she has a Singaporean son, they live in a Singaporean home, and her son is participating in the National Day Parade. And at the same time, these few days leading up to the parade coincide with her waiting for her citizenship application result. So she doesn't know whether she's going to be a citizen or not. The main character in this film deals with a lot of the same questions and maybe anxieties and tensions that I think about and that I feel in my own experience in Singapore. So she deals with questions like, what does it take to feel like you belong somewhere? When you finally do belong somewhere, does that mean you have to let go of everything else? Studying sociology at SUSS has really helped me deepen my understanding of how the lives that people lead, the emotions, their experiences, it can feel really personal and small, but actually it is never isolated from the larger world that we live in. Your own personal life is always a reflection of the society that you live in, and that means you are never alone and you're always connected to something or someone. In the work that we do, it is never just a question of like, is this art good? But more about, what does this art say about this person's world? What does it say about the world that you and I share? Who gets to talk about these stories? Who gets to be able to share these stories? Struggling my studies and working was really a challenge. I was really blessed that at Singlit Station I could work part-time and remotely and quite flexibly. And I had really supportive colleagues and managers, family and friends. During graduation day at SUSS, it was really heartening to see diversity in not just ethnicity, but age and background and life experience. And it was a really great reminder that there are many different kinds of learners from many different walks of life, and that education should be and can be accessible to all these different kinds of people. This drive for diversity carries through in my work because I think often about access and belonging in these kinds of spaces, like how to create a space where people who may not necessarily see themselves as artists or writers are still empowered to be able to create and to share and to have their voices heard. I think simply to keep moving forward, even if it's an inch at a time, to learn to let go of things, to look back with gratitude, and to always try harder to be a bit kinder and a bit braver and a bit more honest in the things that come your way. There seem to be a lot of options for what I could do and where I could be, but I think regardless of what's in store, ultimately what I would like to have done in 5 years is to have uplifted those in the communities that I work with and leave it in a better place than it was before, and to give them access to opportunities that they might not have had otherwise. I think my definition of success is to just have had a positive impact on the people around me. I've made a positive difference for those around me that I care about.